Hello, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio. Join myself, Foxchair, on the show this evening. It's the one and only Port Bear, Juicy Bear, and the legend that is the Bridge. How are we doing, gentlemen?
Evening, lads. Good to be back on. How are you all?
Good, mate. Good, mate. Juicy?
Good evening, gentlemen. Always good to be back with my guys.
And the legend.
What can I say? Good evening to yourself, Foxchair, and of course the techie boys in the background, and Port Bear and Juicy look after me tonight. And to all the Rangers fans that are listening in all over the world, good evening and welcome to Rangers Radio.
How are you, Bridge?
A million times better after that result of the weekend. A million times better. Yeah, I'm very happy.
Aye. It wasn't the greatest of performances, but ultimately you take that every time. Port Bear a 3-0 victory away from home, eh?
Aye, against a team that were, probably one of the form teams in the Premier League, maybe playing well. They've been, they've looked decent when, when I've seen some highlights of them playing. So, they were second in the league last year, and, deservedly so, because we've been pretty average. So I was glad we got a result finally under wee Davis's belt, mate, because I was getting worried after watching the European match. I've got to admit, I was really concerned after watching the European match during the week, mate.
Well, and then we changed off the team, Juicy. 4 changes, obviously. Scott Wright suspended.
Thank goodness.
And then Dessers and Lammers. I don't think people were shocked at that, but it was never half a team. It was changed, yeah.
Yeah, there was some changes. It was good to see the young boy Lovelace start, but I think a lot of people wanted to see a few more changes with the old guard maybe coming out. And you can make too many changes sometimes, Ox, even if a team's not playing too well. But I think the breaks come at the right time, obviously from the manager side, Ox. And really it just depends now on, can we get someone in? And it just gives us an opportunity to maybe get a few players back from injury as well.
Mm-hmm. So we made 4 changes. Let's stick to the game. We'll get 2 weeks to talk about other stuff. So four changes. Juicy, Bridgeman, were you happy with that?
Actually, I was delighted to see the team the way they came out, and I thought it was a good start. We did very, very well, I thought, and of course, we ended up camped in their half, and now and again they would wander up the park and then back in again. So you're against a solid 5-man defence, and eventually there was 5-3-1 or something like that out there, or 5-3-2, whatever it was. It was just quite incredible in there. However, I think our players played very well. But what we did see, and it was highly noticeable, and I'm sure some of our punters on here in the panelist side of it, watching that, would have noticed how many times we threw the ball away. Just passed the ball to the wrong man or passed it out of the park. Unbelievable. A huge amount of times we did it. Various players. So we'll not name anybody. But sometimes it's just really bad to watch. When we're playing at pace, sometimes you can, okay, we're unlucky there, maybe a wee bit too hard. But no, the pace that we were playing quite comfortable. But my God, we couldn't pass 20 yards, 30 yards. We just couldn't. I'm not saying all the time, sometimes. But with the young lad that was on, the right winger, Lovelace, I thought it was a tremendous game. What a smile I had on my face watching him. Great. Sad to see he get injured. And the young lad McCausland that came on afterwards, well, I've seen him.
Right, calm down.
Sorry.
It's not a state address of the union. Just stick to the game. We're just talking about the team. Don't need to go through the whole 90 minutes, right? So, Port Bear, were you happy with the changes? Yes or no? It's quite a simple question.
I was, Ox, yeah.
Thank you. Carry on, Port. What was your thoughts?
Aye, look, mate, in my eyes, Stephen Davis is a club legend, mate, and he'll be a Hall of Famer. I've got a theory that why my concerns were, under him being the interim manager. He's got a lot of big mates and a lot of teammates that he had in that team. i.e. Goldson, Tav, the vice captain, the captain. And after watching Thursday's game last year, I had a big concern that could this guy make the step up and make the difficult decisions that he did to bringing in Lovelace, dropping Lammers, dropping Dessers, senior players in the Rai, guys that's been there, done it. And he made changes. I still,
Nearly half a team.
I still believe there's a big, strong element in that dressing room next year. I don't know if you agree with me, guys. A big, strong element that have proved in the past they can get managers the bag, right? Go down into. I think that's a fact. Right. And I'm going
to say this once more and once more only. We've got 2 weeks to talk about all that. We're talking about yesterday's game, right? Right. Yep. The team, the 11 that started. Thoughts?
I was happy, mate. I think it was needed. I think it showed the players that were dropped that if you're not going to play and you're not going to play to standards that we expect, that's what's going to happen, mate. I totally agree with you.
Starting 11, yeah. Yeah. Obviously, Scott Wright was enforced. How he appeared just is up for debate. Dessers and Lammers, let's be honest, since the season started, they've been woeful. And I'm being kind just here.
Oh, I think the less said about that, the better, Ox, those guys. I mean, I know this is a radio show where we've got to talk about stuff, but what can you say that's positive about them in any way? Nothing. Nada. Zero. Zilch. Has there been Rangers players that have taken time to get used to playing in Scotland and playing well? Yes. Is all hope lost for them? Maybe not, because see players that I've just referenced there in the past, but they're not looking like they're ever going to get anything at the moment. Things could change. The new manager could help. So they're going to have one more shot, really, Ox, aren't they?
I think the problem is, Bridgeman, is that they've come in and people know that we've spent money on them and they've got decent contracts, so people get frustrated, yeah?
Well, I don't know if they realise that they get how frustrated the fans are. Surely you would think they do. But my goodness gracious, what a difference it was in our team, the young lads playing. Energy, pace, just magic, just great. That kind of lifted it a wee bit for us. But the same old, as I said earlier, losing the ball at inappropriate moments and things like that. But yeah, I like the changes, and I think we could, maybe for the future, obviously young Lovelace, we'll need to wait and see what happens with him. But that manager, Stephen Davis, must be ready to make changes in youngsters because he likes it.
Well, he made the changes. Maybe not as radical as the support would have wanted, but we started slowly, we started okay, then they came into the game and nothing really happened. There was a couple of crosses that Jack Butland came and took. We weren't creating much as Bridge, like says, we're getting the ball away, and then a couple of bits of play with Lovelace, and he puts it in the box. And I must admit, I said it yesterday, and I'll say it again. I never noticed the penalty kick first time round. Did you? Thought?
No, mate, I didn't realise what had happened at all.
No.
Yeah, I seen obviously the referee's finger in his ear, and I thought, what's going on here? I thought it was a foul. I didn't really understand what was going on. And then obviously the penalty was given, and it was deservedly so.
Oh, I just don't walk when you've seen it,
Aye, definitely. But when you seen it slowed down, guaranteed. But as I said, I think it helped. We have obviously noticed last year with the team are at a very low moment. Like they're just touching on about making passes and making headers. I think they're playing a bit of fear. In all honesty, mate, their confidence of some of them players are coming absolutely on the floor, mate. And you know what it's like. It's difficult when things aren't going right for you. You're scared to make that 20-yard pass that you would make every week. You're scared to try a free kick. You're scared to have a pop-it goal because the fans are right on your back and they're already on their back as it is. So for a team that's a flat next year, I think it was a good away result.
So the first part of the game, Lovelace came into the game juicy and obviously made the goal, and then unfortunately he gets the injury. I'd hopefully it's not as bad as he first thought. I would imagine it'll be one of the first time he's maybe done his hammy in, so he's not knowing how to deal with it. Obviously, you can't deal with it, it's only rest. He's not knowing what's happened, he's so young. God, it sums up your season, doesn't it? A boy comes in and does his hamstring in.
Yeah, and that's just how it's rolling for us at the moment. I thought he looked lively, he looked pacey, he was good running down the flanks. I think there's a lot of promise there, and you want to see him getting more starts when he comes back from the injury. Same for Rice as well. I'd have liked to have seen him get a few more minutes, to be honest. I don't see what the point is in bringing someone up on when there's only 2 minutes left and you're 3-0 up. But Lovelace, it's just so unfortunate. But hopefully he won't be out for a terribly long time, Ox, and we'll still get to see some of the benefit of him this side of Christmas. All going well.
He's no 18 till January, Bridge, yeah?
Is that Lovelace?
Aye. He's no 18 till
What
January.
by the way, I won't be a boy as well. I think he showed quite a lot to us. I just hope it's not too big a injury or knock or whatever he got. But seriously, what a difference! What a difference! Somebody you can feed down the right. Somebody you can even go for a high ball. He wasn't that bad, you know. I was delighted to see that, delighted, and I thought that gave us, shall we say, good foundation for going. Seriously, I really liked it that much. I thought there was a point during the game when they bringing on young McCausland, and they saw Dessers and Lammers sitting there. I don't know how much they cost, but let's say £5-6 million. My God, they were embarrassed, and so they should have been a young boy coming on. Incredible.
So unfortunately, Zach went off for his injury report, and then young McCausland come on as a young boy as well, and arguably he had the best bit of skill when he rolled the cushion, the header back, took the weight off it, the spin off it, and put it back to Raskin, who maybe should have scored in the first half to make it 2-0. Huh?
Lovely, mate. That was great move. Boy showed awareness. He's back for that wee flick for Raskin, and he put it down the keeper's throat. Any other say the keeper's probably in the net, mate. So yeah, I definitely youth, mate. They play with no fear, don't they? It's not they don't really have. I don't know what it is about youth, but they don't seem to carry the same pressure as we're established stars who are on the floor. But what we've noticed with Lovelace and McCausland is, you know, they play with no fear, mate, and they look well within their rights to be in that squad on current form in the team.
Well, what the key is a lot more mobility along with Seaman and obviously Roof's movement. I didn't think Roof had a great game, Juicy, but he still got movement that we've not had.
Well, it was just nice to see a little bit of freshness, wasn't it? You know, a new player who are there to get excited about, and you're not expecting him to play like Pele on game one, maybe by game two. Yeah, just want to see, that freshness. And I think when the team's not doing well and we're all getting a bit fed up with the same back four and Lundstrom mincing around the park, you want to see something that's just new, and at least we got to see a bit of that, and hopefully there's more to come with some players coming back as well.
Yeah, so we get to half time and the second half starts, Bridge, and I don't think we played well at all. We slowed the pace down, and at times you wondered if we had a man advantage, if I'm being honest, in the first maybe 20 minutes of the second half.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I would have said probably the first 10 minutes. It's as if, well, you're right, we didn't have a man advantage. We seemed to just sit back there and try to play across the park a slow, lethargic game of football that we tend to play, and no zip whatsoever. And that's sad when you see them doing that. However, we finished a lot better, you know. But yeah, you're right. First 10, maybe even 15 minutes, very slow, very slow.
Yeah, and the midfield just didn't function. But I've read online today that people saying that John Lundstrom's found his niche. I started reading the article. I found it quite interesting. And it was somebody saying he should be playing walking football. And I tend to agree with him.
Mate, I'm really, the midfield's really ripped my knit out, if I'm honest, mate. I think they're far too far apart. You know, I don't think they're closing spaces, as you say. They're very lacklustre. There's no pace. There's no driving and breaking them lines. I'm not going to be horrible to John Lundstrom here, and I've mentioned this to you on the show before. Hiding, mate. He's hiding. See what he's doing. Just sweeping up in front of the back four and filling in the gap in between the two centre halves. And obviously, that's lazy. That's hiding in a game. He's offering Raskin no help, and I thought Raskin had one of his better games in his head in a wee while. But he's on his Todd, mate. He's absolutely on his Todd because John Lundstrom, in my opinion, mate, big bad John. No, that tag's been taken off you, mate. You need to get a finger out, son, because that's not what we expect. The run that he had, and his ability that he showed us during the run to the UEFA Cup final, mate. Where is that guy? Where is he? Because for me, he's hiding, mate.
Well, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, Juicy. I mean, he's one of the ones that's contracts up next season. I don't think you're renewing, so you've got to start building, and that comes in January, mate.
Well, I think we need to build a list of, and Old Bear's very good at this actually. He's good at the homework. Putting a list together of who's got the 1 year left next summer, who's out of contract, and who would you want to push on? Because I think a lot of us.
I just want to let you into a secret. Old Bear reads it out. Mrs. Old Bear does all the homework.
Well, that's like me baking things at work and getting my mum to do it and saying that it was all from Juicy. But with that in mind, whether it's Old Bear doing it or his lovely wife, it's good homework. And there's a lot of players that come next summer. You know, we've already spoken about it previously about Tav and Galton being the wrong side of 30 in that. And Tav's lost some of that pace this season. He's not lost some of the goal scoring touches as we saw yesterday. But the problem's never been about his goal scoring, has it? It's about his quality of defending. And I know GB is a big advocate of Tav, and I don't think anyone really dislikes Tav. He's done a lot for this club, but he's not the best defensive player we have. And as players get a little bit older,
He's an enigma, you see.
he is an enigma. And you know, I've absolutely loved the goals that he scored for this club. It's been fantastic, but we have to have a slightly better defensive structure if we're going to compete in European games for a start. But there's going to be times when we're going to need that attacking flair. So what's the balance, Ox?
Good question, mate. Good question. We'll come back to that, James Tavernier. I mean, how can you strike a ball in the net like that and you can't pass it 5 yards? It's mental bridge, isn't it?
It is. I've been trying. A lot of our players who should be able and can, because we know we've seen them doing it. And it's much like Port said a couple of minutes ago as well. Some of these players, particularly Lundstrom, I agree 100% with Port there. It looks as if he's hiding. And when he comes out, it's as if I can't go any further. Well, wait a minute. What I'll do is I'll just pass this ball and I'll put it out the wing. And it doesn't get out in the wing. You know, it gets cut out, or in fact, it goes out the park. And some of the things he's doing are just crazy. But when he goes back into his defensive area, he can be parted up, put it across the park, and we'll pick it up, and so on and so forth. Now, look, it's not every single ball, but it's an awful lot of balls, an awful lot, you know. Some of these guys, I would say that Lundstrom's maybe only playing 60%. That's what I reckon he's playing at 60%.
Very kind,
no
man.
more.
Very
I know, got some folk think he doesn't know that, but he does a lot of work in the backyard, sweeping across supposedly the defensive midfield. But these guys are down to 10 men. Why do we need 4 defensive guys plus a defensive midfielder, or even 2, you count Ratasky. So we don't really need that. We want somebody to step up, and John Lundstrom, please step up sometimes and show what you've got. He's got a smashing shot on him when he hits the ball and pings it right. But my goodness gracious, I agree. He's hiding. Maybe he's just hanging on to the end of the season. Maybe he's a writer.
Mm-hmm. I'll be the first professional to do that, Port. But listen, the performances are not about John Lundstrom. There's another 10 men in the team, but just he's on the ball that often, Port. Yeah.
Aye. If you watch him, he'll go on demand after centre backs, go on demand after full back, and then he'll turn and we can blame the more forward thinking players at times, mate, because sometimes he's looking for that forward pass and there's nobody dropping for it. Something that we're not used to watching the Rangers is that we go to that ball over the top box and we just miss it in midfield, so it's just like straight over the top, and we try and look for Dessers, for talking sake, who's got no pace in behind, so we're not playing to his strengths. Everything we're playing to Dessers should be into his chest or into his feet, in my opinion, and he should be your figure point to basically take the ball and bring other people into play. That's what I think. That's what I thought Dessers was brought today, but instead we keep playing this ball with that. Same with Lammers, no pace, nice touch, nice technical player, but we keep playing this ball, missing it midfield over the top box here. I think, what we've got to remember, Davis isn't it's his first time getting a chance in the dugout at Oxford. He's not got his coaching badges yet. Everybody expected this big, massive, overhaul of changes, tactics, the whole lot. If you watch it and if you look at it, he's not got time.
He's got the job. They've hardly been on the training pitch, mate. Let's be honest.
I know. No, it's not criticism, Oxford. I'm not criticising. What I'm saying is it's not fair on him. Because I think he's been thrown into a job he probably didn't want at the moment. He's probably been sitting having a wee glass of red. His phone goes, Mr. Bisgrove is like, by the way, Monday morning you're taking the team until further notice. So it's very, Oxford yourself, you've coached, it's very difficult to try to implement anything new and radical because it could cause even more damage. So he's had to stick with what he knows. He's been very brave.
Weeks just to change your shape properly, mate. If you're going to do it properly,
Aye, that's what I'm getting at.
Especially if you've been working on something for like 3 months, like they'd be working through that system that was working juicy all through pre-season. Then you want to change it, Well,
it's really hard just to get an instant fix. And as Rangers fans and fans of any club, to be fair, you all want instant success, don't you? And that doesn't change the fact that even if he hadn't changed the system, the loss against Limassol was embarrassing, Ox. One of you guys said it, I think it was on here, it might have been somewhere else I read or heard it, but Limassol sold their captain in the summer to Motherwell, and he can't even get in the Motherwell squad. This was the only performance I think that was worse than this in recent years was Progress Niederkorn. But when you go back to that, Ox, we hadn't spent a lot of money. Pedro didn't have a very big budget. Beale has had one of the biggest budgets for many of the Rangers managers in the last few years. And we still were useless. So that's why I rate that as a worse defeat, because he's actually had money to spend. And regardless of the tactics, we should have had enough to beat that team. And it was terrible.
It was awful. But if I'm being really honest, and I don't want to make it personal, but if you've got Dessers, Lammers and Scott Wright in your team, you're short of quality, if I'm being honest, Bridge.
100%. You're 100% correct here. And I'm afraid to say, and I was quite happy to invite young Scott Wright because I thought he was going to be a really good player for us. I'm afraid it's not happened. He scored a couple of goals and probably key goals as well, but the truth is, you watch him and you think he's going to do the exact same thing as he did the last time and lose the ball. And as sure as shooting, can you run to the line and cross it over? As long as there's not a fullback there. If there's a fullback near him, he'll fall over him or he'll give him the ball or something like that. Invariably. No, I'm afraid that Scott Wright is very poor member of your squad, and I hope he's one of the guys that's leaving next summer.
His contract's up, Rich. His contract's up.
Just hoping so. Or maybe at Christmas time, get rid of him.
If he can leave for a couple $100,000 and leave early or anything, mate, just to get him out of a wage bill. No offence to him, we took a punt, Port, it's not worked. You know, he's got a lot of assets in his game and he's fast. Not that good, you don't take the ball with you, but he'll, in years to come, he'll be the one in the photograph. Seville team, who's that?
The quiz question, the picture will come up by and people will ask who he is. That's he got all hard, mate. Look, I think, and it pains me to say Oxford, and I don't know if you agree with me or not, I think from now to January, we have to do the best we can and keep as close as we can, because I think the rebuild needs rebuilt Oxford. And I know you can't, you probably won't get the rebuild fully done in January because you never get players that you want because they're all playing in their tournaments, i.e. UEFA, Conference League, whatever, Champions League, whatever. But whoever comes in has got a massive job in their hands, Oxford, in my opinion, and a job that I believe I hope the board take their time and we have to get this right, because this current squad, I believe, I want to see guys like young Bailey Rice, McCausland, Lovelace when he goes back, Oxford. I would take a punt and give these boys a real crack. Even Leon King, let's get Leon King back in the fold, because, like you rightly say, there's a couple of guys there coming to the end of their contract. So let's give these boys a chance and let's see what potential they really have, because we've not really had a right good close look at them. And while we're in the situation we're in at the moment, can we do any worse by giving these boys a chance? Because the two that have had a chance, McCausland and Zach Lovelace, have made for big money signings look average Oxford.
They're two forward players. So Dessers and Lammers, they're the ones that grab the headlines, but you know, the whole team's not played well at times, if we're honest. You're right, Juicy. Thursday night was really disappointing. Right, you three, we better get these phone lines open. Do you agree?
Go for it.
Let's do it.
Right, well, before we move on,
why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
well, just for the record, so you know, last bear standing, we're not very good at it. There's only 3 people left. The fast in week 1. The champ became the chump. That's me. Went out with Airdrie. I didn't know at the time, but my big buckers outside and picked Airdrie as well. So the twos went out at the same time. So a horrendous performance beyond. Only 3 people left. Oh, we can pick them, Port Bear.
What am I out to?
There's only 3 people left.
Oh my goodness.
You mean you don't
know?
know?
No, I didn't know. My mucker never told me.
Right. 3 people left. We can pick them, man. We can pick them. Right, okay. And sorry for all the people that's trying to get their Christmas bunny on the back of Southside Super 6. I'll just say this, there's always next Christmas. Right. Right. So the second half, as I said, we scored a right good goal. The second goal, good move, good running by Raskin. He was involved in getting in the box on 2 occasions, which I like. Port. The McCausland knocked on and plus that ball into Seema. By the way, that was a good goal as well. Seema's finish. Port.
I'll come in on that one. I thought it was a tremendous. Oh, sorry.
On you go, Briggs. On you go.
I was going to say I thought it was a tremendous goal, well worked, and by the way, that Seema is turning out to be quite a good player for us. I don't know if he's going to be a star, but he certainly is banged in something 8 goals this season or something like that, which is very good. So nobody can complain. I think the fans around about are very happy with him up to now. Certainly a huge distance ahead of either Lammers or Dessers. Massive distance ahead of him.
Mate, I don't mind going about the two, but it's a shocking lack of pace, mate. It's a shocking lack of pace, and even Dessers controls poor, but we could turn that into a show. That could be a show on its own, Juicy, but I don't think we should.
We can turn a talking point into out of anything at the moment, Ox. It's there's so much stuff to talk about speculation wise and that, and we haven't even got to the manager yet.
Yeah, I don't know if we will. Right, we get the goal in the second half with good play with Raskin, but a ball played into him. He was intelligent, put that across. Seema, good finish. And as Bridge said, I think that's 8 goals for Seema. He's doing his bit, isn't he? Do you see?
Sorry, I was doing a bridge man then. Seema, okay. Here's the good and the bad about Seema. He's starting to get on a nice scoring run now. Lovely jubbly. Feel really good about that. Bad news about Seema. He's not owned by Rangers Football Club.
No, that's true. That's true, mate. That's true. But I wish we would seen the same about Dessers and Lammers. Aye, I get it. Aye, but he's doing a job for us. We can't take it away from him just here.
No, we definitely loaned the wrong players there. I couldn't be any more pleased in terms of, when you look at everything else that's going bad, you've still got to look at the players individually who are doing well. And Butland's very much in that mould. And Seema, he's just slowly gone about his business. I'm still not convinced that I'm a big fan of his sort of style of play, but he's getting the job done. And you can't ask for much more than that goal contribution per match at the moment. And he's certainly doing his bit, and he's grown into the team. And it's such a shame that Matondo's injured, because I thought the two of them playing down each side might just give us something. So fingers crossed that we can see that again soon. But it's pleasing, and we'll have to see what happens, because if he keeps this up, there's no reason why maybe we can't look at signing him, because it's not easy to get in that Brighton team.
I'd like to see him playing as a centre forward. Yeah, running the team as centre forward. That's maybe just me, but he's goal scorer. He scored all sorts of goals. If you think against the PSV goal, you've got the goal against Livingston. You've got the goal on Sunday. You've got the header even on Thursday night. You've got the goal against Betis, the scramble goal. Bridgeman, he's scoring all sorts of different goals.
Yeah, indeed. And by the way, great pace. He's scoring goals. And you said just a second ago you'd like to see him at centre forward. There's no competition. There's no competition for a centre forward role. The guys that's got it now are poor. And Roof is not kicking it at all. I thought he'd have kicked on and grabbed that position for himself. But my goodness, I don't need to touch the ball 10 times. I'm not being funny.
I think he did touches, Bridge. I think I read that. Did touches. Yeah.
So I think that there's nobody in our squad or club that have got the abilities, showing the abilities to be a centre forward. And the only one that looks anywhere decent, he's got pace to run through. And I would like to see him challenging the centre halves. But maybe he needs somebody beside him to take the weight as well. I don't know how we're going to get that. But I think it's the moral certainty he's going to start every week for us. I can't see that changing. I can't see it.
Aye, Port, he's scored, as I said, he scores all type of different goals. And he's young, he's quick, he's brave, he's strong. Is the ball under control 100% of the time? No, it's no, but he's effective.
That's probably my only two criticisms, Oxjera, Seema. Apart from, as you said, lightning quick, can score all types of goals with his head, dribbling with his feet, scrambled finishes like number 9 would. But I think he's more effective after left, Oxjera, if I'm totally honest. A bit like in the same sort of mould as Terry Henry was. Likes to have that wee bit of freedom out on that left-hand side where, sometimes he's not marked and he can come inside and get onto that right foot and score. I understand why you'd like to see him through the middle, but I've got my doubts with him back to goal, mate. That's my only doubt with Abdullah Sima. Other than that, I think he's been my talisman so far. This early part of the season, I think he's been the guy, the go-to guy when it comes to goals and making assists, because he does create quite a few decent crosses across the goal. He's dangerous, he's direct, and that's everything we need. But it's just a preference, mate. I prefer him coming off the left.
I take your point about him playing me back to goal. We've not really seen that much. I think he'd be better than the number 9 we've got with the shortest now. He's back to goal, and also teams would be worried if he did spin in behind the right areas of the pitch, just because he's pace.
I think one of the things we're lacking though at the moment, Ox, is pace in this side, don't you think? You know, we need more pace. You know, I just feel like we're really lacking on that. Teams are moving too quick for us, even teams that we should be hammering.
Yeah, it's all of the pitch, it's defence, it's attack, it's midfield, and obviously when we play Dessers and Lammers up top, we're shorter pace on Albridge, but Seema gives you that pace, and he's scoring goals.
Yeah, I'm sorry, it was me, was it, this week? Sorry.
On you go, Bridge, and we'll go back to Juicy.
Yeah. No, I think it's been a little bit of a revelation the last couple of weeks, Seema. We're not saying he's the best player in the whole world, or even Scotland for that matter. But my goodness gracious, what a difference it is to our club to get somebody to put the ball in the net. He's the one that's been doing it. And you can't complain. So between him and Tavernier, there's two major heroes to add with the young lads that came in and did the business for us. Some of the rest of them, well, I'm sorry to say, very poor performances for some of them.
Juicy, about any comment?
Yeah, I mean, aside from Matondo, pace-wise, he's obviously out at the moment. Hopefully he's not too far away. I guess we'll find out after the international break. He might still be a week or two off. Steam is really the only pacey guy we've got, because I don't even want to consider Scott Wright, because he's, last time we saw him, he was a central midfielder. Ridiculous. But yeah, there's something about Seema. His style is unusual. But I don't think we can complain about the end result at the moment with him. So that's really pleasing. Just hope that maybe we can get a few more of the quality players back from injury who we know really help this team tick, because then players like him have something to feed off even more so. Because at the moment, you feel like, as well as he's been doing, Ox, he's kind of feeding off scraps from a team that's not playing very well. And you imagine how well he could perform in a team that's suddenly performing all round.
Yeah, he scored 8 goals, and he's not maybe the minutes or the time port, but he's a positive, a negative storm, if you like. Yeah.
Just to touch on what just said, mate. Could you imagine this? Can you imagine his form in a team where Rangers their tails are up and they're flying and everybody's confident and the team's flowing the way we know they can play? I'm still at the judgmental stage of this team next year, because under Beale, I already think after a few weeks he'd lost dressing room, and I think we've not seen the best of these players, because the time previous manager was out the door, the tails were between their legs basically, half of that team, and we've just not seen the best of them. I've seen enough of some of the players that i.e. Lammers. I like his touch. I like his, his great feet, but it just looks soft to me. But again, confidence, Oxford. I think confidence is everything in football. And when you're playing with basically your chin and your chest, you don't want to receive the ball. You want to just hide. The last thing you want to do is receive the ball in difficult situations. You've not the confidence to dribble because everybody's on your back. this team are on the floor next year, and a couple of my results, like one against St Mirren, you're hoping we build on that and build on, and get a bit of confidence in this team, because I still don't think next year, to be fair, we've seen the best of this team and the best of some of these players.
Yeah, but I think we shot the two last games we lost to the manager that started Stevie D. Stevie G. There's a blast for the past. Stephen Davis was the fact that the base started Dessers up front. We've not had a lot of options if we're being honest, you see. But it's like playing with 10 men, throw in all right, I'll give him Port's benefit out. Lammers, it's void of confidence, void a lot of things. But we're playing with 9 men, you see.
Well, sometimes it's felt like it's even less than that. We said similar things last season, didn't we, about Alfredo and Ryan Kent? Multiple times we said we were playing with 10 men, 9 men, Kent was an empty shirt, etc., etc. So from that respect, it doesn't really feel like we've moved on, does it? A lot of fans are saying, and I don't disagree, that the players we brought in haven't made us any better than last season. And if you minus Cholak and Fashion's goals, they were big contributors on the goal side. And as poor as Kent and Morelos were, Lammers and Dessers haven't been any better. And I think that's what's worrying, especially Ox, when we spent 7 odd million on the two of them. And that was our biggest outlying, aside from Danilo. And like you were saying about with Scott Wright, we didn't spend a lot of money on him. If it doesn't work out, it doesn't matter too much. The club haven't lost out financially. These guys will be lucky if we get half the price for them.
Oh, wait. Unless we can get Del Boy into point them. I don't know what we're going to do with them, but that's a whole different debate. Right, so we digress there. So we get the second goal at the weekend, and then a moment of absolute brilliance in any game of football club where my right back appears in the middle of the pitch. There's an effort at goal, decent effort. It comes back to him. He's falling, everything. He cuts across it and hits it with power right in the top postage stamp. Listen, for all the criticism we gave the guy about some of his passing, his defending, he can score a goal, he can strike a ball. And I don't know if there's another player in the group that scored that kind of goal. Portbear.
Never in doubt, Oxford. See the first strike. The first strike was a decent strike. But see the speed that came back to him, and then the technique to get it to basically go in the way it did. We've never doubted James Tavernier's ability to strike a ball, mate. That's always been there. Takes pens, great strike of the ball. But what a finish that was, mate. That was a cracking finish. As I said, especially how quick it came back to him. And he's got, the chain of thought, bang, right away, boom. Keeper doesn't even get a chance to move, and it's in. What a strike, mate, by the captain. He keeps doing it, mate, and he'll be criticised all the time about his defending. But could you imagine your team at times in the season he's been there without his goals? And some of his goals up here, you could easily say 60-70% of them have somehow been very important goals at times.
Aye, I mean, you're right to be there, and he gets that goal. Great strike, you see.
Well, he's always been in the locker, hasn't it? From the minute we laid eyes on him against Hibernian in the Petrified Cup, he's been doing that ever since. And his defending's always been not his greatest attribute, not dissimilar from a lot of right backs, to be fair, and a lot of other English right backs at that. But the goal contributions, even if you forget about the fact he's a penalty taker, forget about the fact that half those goals, he still scored over 50 goals in open play and set pieces from free kicks and the like, which is crazy. And don't forget how many goals he scored in open play, nipping up at the back post to get us to a Europa League final. And that's about anticipating and position play. So it's not just about the set plays, because otherwise you could just say he's got skills in that department, but he hasn't got it across the piece. This guy has it across the piece when it comes to scoring goals, and it's easily balanced out by his not so good defending. But unfortunately, as I said earlier, as he gets older, that pace is dropping, and it's going to be harder for him to score some of the types of goals that he scored before. But he can still lever it from long distance, and he's never really going to lose that attribute. What I want now, Ox, is for us to look at what we have within the club, within the youth system, that he can get involved with in terms of looking at replacements for him, because we've always got to be looking at building. And I want the next James Tavernier to come through the ranks. I don't want us to have to go and spend 5 million on someone. I want to find someone for a nominal price or within the club that can learn off this guy while he's still playing and playing well.
I mean, I didn't think he had a great game on the ball at the weekend, but the fact that he scored 2 goals, one's a penalty bridge, and then an absolutely outrageous goal, wasn't it?
Absolutely glorious. Absolutely glorious. I thought he'd blown it when he got his shot in the middle of the box, 18-yard box, and he ran in and he just followed on in the back and back out. My goodness gracious, what a goal! I don't think there's anybody with that would probably be a goal of the season, no matter where. Just a fantastic goal. Keeper, the ball was travelling away for the goalkeeper. You just said earlier, he cut his foot across it and give it that extra bit of spin, and the ball just soared right into the rigging. Fabulous goal. And by the way, that's probably maybe about 95% of his game in Sunday. That's what he did. He scored 2 goals, and I don't think he did very much else. He got a couple of crosses in, and he got a couple of bad ones that he couldn't get in, and poor free kicks and things like that. He was there, all the same old rubbish that we're having to put up with sometimes from him. But my goodness gracious, you can't take that away from him. 2 goals, 2 really good goals, really, we were desperate for goals, and he's got them. Him and Seema getting the goals for us, and away we go. 3-0 against St Mirren, can't be bad. Considering,
Uh-huh.
No,
I suppose you made a good point there, Bridge, but maybe not realised it. You take Seema's goals and Tav's so far this season, there ain't been a lot for it, is there?
Ouch. That's what I mean, mate. Their goals have been absolutely invaluable. We've probably in a worse state than we are without the captain's goals and Seema's form, mate. We're talking about bravery when it comes to Davis making changes next year. I'd like to see, and I know this is me contradicting myself because you'll get at me for this. I'd like to actually see, as we're all saying, his legs, he's on the other side of 30 in his legs, he's maybe not as quick and doesn't go up and down that side. Why don't we try Dijon Sterling at right back, and let's just get Tav one forward? And I know I've said before last year, I think it'd be difficult and much different for place for him to play, but it always seems to get that goal, that space, that delivery, and without that, having to go back all the time, and let's see what the big boy Sterling can really do. Let's have a look at him next year. We brought him in with a high profile, came from Chelsea background, maybe quite a lot of teams in the Championship wanted him. It's just a thought next year. If we're going to look at players for replacing players, let's have a look at a big fella. We know he's got good defensive ability, he's strong, he's physical, but I don't think he's been given a fair crack at a whip. And we could push to have one forward, mate. What's your thoughts?
I've said it before, I'll take it with the boys, we can bring all Davey in when we're ready, but I've said it before, I don't think in the 4-3-3 Tav could play there, but if you were playing a 4-5-1 and away for him in Europe, or you played a 4-4-2 when you were keeping it tight, maybe. I just think he gets that attacking thing because he gets to come so late because he's playing so deep. think you move Tab up. Sometimes he'd have to take the ball with his back to goal, and it's not his game. He's got to be coming on the ball. Just my thoughts, Juicy. Just my thoughts. Is he a better finisher than, say, Raskin? Well, the stats tell you, yeah. I think you've got a point there. What? And you come, Juicy?
I agree with what you said there about position. We tried this a couple of times, didn't we, when he was... I can't even remember which manager it was now. It might have been Gio. When we were trying to play Patterson...
Stevie G.
It was Stevie. When we were trying to play Patterson and Tab in the same starting lineup, and a couple of times we started Patterson at right back, I think, or at least he would come on and Tab would push up the park a bit more on the right wing. And what you've got to remember then, though, Ox, is that was a pacier Tab. So he could move a bit more quickly, but I think he does have to run onto the ball. So right back or right wing back is probably always going to be his best position. But I don't think it does any harm in trying a few things sometimes, because I think we've got to give Dijon an opportunity. And we play so many teams that we should be beating fairly well. At the moment, it's more about just getting results because of the situation we're in. But there should be more opportunities where Rangers managers can just try out a few more things and, try out Tab on the right wing. What does it matter? Give him 20 minutes, see how he gets on here or there. Especially if you're 2 or 3-0 up in a match when that opportunity arises. Sterling is the future of the club, hopefully. Give the guy more opportunity, give Redvan more opportunity. Where's Balogun? Get Balogun an opportunity in centre-back. Goldson, under a lot of slack at the moment from a lot of fan bases. We signed some of these guys and we don't see him again.
Yeah, Michael Beale signed him, Redvan's an enigma. Hopefully he comes back fitter and stronger in 2 weeks' time because we're competition. We criticised Tar, but Warner looks like a guy that's short a wee bit, needs a bit of confidence as well. He's always been that type of player, isn't he? Up and down, Bridge, isn't he?
Yeah, I was a couple of seasons ago. I was listening to my cousins and my brothers, and they were saying that Bournemouth should be sold as quickly as possible because he's running out. He picked himself up again and he went further forward, and then he got injured and he's back in again. And I think my brothers were right. It would have been a good time, maybe 2 seasons ago, to let him go and get transferred out. Because I don't know if we had anybody available at the time to take his place, but you see him Saturday there. He came onto a game and some nice crosses and so on and so forth. But overall, I think it's still quiet. But then the whole of the team were quiet. The whole of the defence was quiet, in my opinion. So I think finding where you could put Borna is difficult because there's one thing about him: he cannot defend, not for 2 pennies. He can't defend, and we all know it, we all see it. And he's a wee bit worried, a bit wary. Some guys come in tough on him, I think that's difficult for him. But please, I don't think the boy Sterling's going to be a good left back. But I've only seen him twice, so I can't be too definitive on that.
He's all right fitted for a start.
That's right, yeah. So we need to buy one.
Can I come in there, Rox?
Aye, on you go, mate.
Just a wee thought. I remember, one of the best seasons I've seen James Tavernier having was the year that young Patterson was pushing him, and obviously realised there was somebody of quality, young Patterson, over his shoulder and pushing him hard. And the same went for Bassey when he was pushing Borna, and even Redvan when he first came in. I felt Borna was much better. I think that's one of the biggest problems we've got with Tav, Goldson, Barisic. I just don't think we've got anybody pushing these guys right now next year that could displace them. So they've got that sort of blasé attitude where I'm first picking every week regardless because there's nobody good enough to play in my position. and you know yourself, that breeds contempt, and it breeds laziness. People just think, I'm playing anyway, it doesn't matter who's there. But I'm just thinking back, mate, when you've got competition for places, you see different players. I don't know if you agree, lads, but I think that's one of the problems. We've not got a lot of competition that's pushing these guys.
Fair comment. Juicy.
Well, it's a really good point, and unfortunately, the biggest problem at the moment is we're struggling just to get 11 men on the park, let alone covering for 2 in each position, which sounds like the most wonderful thing, but we're just so far away from that at the moment. Challenging for players' places is like the utopia that I want us to get to, because, as I said earlier, that's where players like Tav and Goldson, Barisic, Lundstrom, the old guard, need to be pushed, because they're resting on their laurels, guys. They're almost undroppable, even though we all think they should be at times. And again, it's difficult. Sometimes you make 6-7 changes and you lose. You're going to get criticised again if you're the manager. So sometimes you can't win. But when you've got Suter on the bench and King and Balogun and Goldson and Davis haven't been playing very well, wouldn't you have thought, Ox, you would maybe switch it out and bring in one of those other centre backs that actually is fit at the moment, and a Ridvan who's done bits and pieces this season and was on the bench at the weekend.
Maybe I'm only playing devil's advocate here. Maybe he made the 4 changes. Maybe he thought 7, 8, or 9 is going to be too many. Port.
I understand that. I mean, I totally understand that. But even after we get, if you don't let these guys see, I just think Oxford, these guys are guaranteed their place.
And it's not good. It's not healthy, mate. It's not healthy.
It's not healthy at all, mate. It's not, and that's the way they look to me. Like big time Charlies walking about with cigar in the mouth, strolling about the park, thinking, I can't get dropped. Like I said, Lundstrom strolling about the park, barely breaking a sweat. Goldson, very complacent, making mistakes. He never used to mistake. This was an invincible defence. I remember Oxford, invincible team.
I'd have took him off at half time, moved Stewart to the right side and played Davis. I'll tell you why. Because he'd been booked. 1 week trip and we were doing the 10 men and give them a sniff. That's what I was
That's a good point. That's a cracking point, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. And I would say that all the time, Bridge, yeah?
Yeah, I think we've got to be watch out for all of our defensive people. When they get booked, we need to make careful judgment on it, because one more booking and it's a red, of course. But what does that? What's the impact of that? Is it just home matches, or is it red card coverage through Europe? I mean, we need to know about these things.
It's just domestic. What I'm saying is,
that what did we do when he's no in, and we've got a big European game? Are we just going to let him fall out and then come back in again for the Europe? These are the dangerous questions you've got to ask, isn't it? Dangerous.
I'm not. I wouldn't just say that for Connor. I mean it for any player in the same situation.
Absolutely.
Well, it's about playing it safe, isn't it? And again, we've actually got a few defensive options that are available. It's one of the only areas where the players aren't all geared at the moment, and you've got to go on a booking so early. You've got an opportunity to change it, especially when you go 2 up, Ox. You should be able to feel like you've got enough to see it out and not risk a centre back that's on a booking. But he never gets dropped, and he's been like this under several managers now. I'm sure Goldson and Tav have got like some kind of sway backstage that just means they're undroppable. I don't know how they do it, but
I think that was one of the things that was the beginning and the end for Michael Beale. When he brought Goldson right back in, and all the other players had worked hard during pre-season. Obviously, he'd done his fitness, but he hadn't done a pre-season. So it just antagonised people, in my opinion, because it didn't make sense. If you accept sports science, but we'll come back to that. Get yourselves on mute, because we're going to have a tune.
Every Saturday we follow, we cheer the boys in blue, the most successful team in football. We're Scotland's gallant few, though at times they have been hard. We've followed near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands in Ibrox Park.
Successful team in football, we're Scotland's gallant few. Times they have been hard, we've followed near and far. You will always hear us roaring from the stands at Ibrox Park. Whoa, whoa, whoa.
Why don't you give us a call on 0141 356 1972. It's your show, it's your platform. Let's hear from you.
All right, we're going to first call an evening who's just dropped in the night just to wish everybody a happy new year, so we'll not hear from to them. Evening, David.
Yeah, no problem, man. Good evening, boys. How are we? Oh, excuse me. Remember, it's not like my birthday now.
Oh, don't we know it? I keep telling you, don't buy it too early.
It's a pleasure to be on the best show in town. I must compliment you. So you came away with a classic earlier when you said about right. He's got good. I'm still. He's got good pace, but you've got to take the ball with you. If you stuck super glue on that boy, you still couldn't take it well. That was brilliant. But what I was going to ask is, see when this changeover occurs, and obviously we get whoever comes in, do you think there'll be a possibility with keeping Davison in some position regarding the backroom staff?
I know my vote, and I think everybody knows my vote, but I'll do it in the panel. Portbear.
100%, Davey. I agree with you. As I said, though, he's not got his badges yet, but what a place to learn to have you to do him. I would love to see him have some sort of part because he's been nailed professional. He's the sort of guy you want around your young players, like guys like Bailey Rice, Lovelace, McCausland, all these young boys coming through. What a guy to look up to. Ultra professional. British record for caps. He's, in my opinion, he's got to be part of the coaching team of the incoming manager. I agree with you.
Juicy?
Even if he's not in the first team setup, I want him to be in some kind of role, as Port said there, with regards to the youth setup and the like, whether it's the B team or some kind of influence, because Guy was a devastatingly good midfielder, and there's so much that players within that position alone could learn from him. Of course, it just also depends what he wants to do as well. If he's wanting to stay in the coaching world, and that this is a great place for him to stay and improve his knowledge as well. But ultimately, I'll go with what the new manager wants to do, and hope he keeps some level of continuity. And maybe Davis still was hoping to get a game somewhere, although I seriously doubt that is going to be possible, Ox. But we've certainly supported him in his rehabilitation, that's for sure.
Bridge?
Stephen Davis would be a fine, obviously, a fine coach, possibly even a fine assistant manager. Should any of the managers coming in not have said facility, an assistant with them, whomever their manager is, he may actually want to keep some of the existing staff, and while he assesses the whole situation, and that if he does, well, he couldn't get a finer person to be his side than Stephen Davis, and that's what I think about it. I don't think it's going to happen like that. There's a bit, shall we say, fairy story stuff. But seriously, any of these guys coming in and they're a bit concerned they don't have an assistant manager, or we don't have an assistant manager. There you go. You can take on Mr. Davies and he can fill them in. I think that'd be a great thing for him, the manager that is, and for Stephen Davis. However, it's pie in the sky, as I say, so we'll see how it goes. But definitely, I've got nothing but praise and admiration for Stephen Davis and everything's done. Even when he was away for Rangers, he was tremendous. Great player. What an ambassador for the sport that man is. Fantastic.
That's a big yes for me, mate. I just think he's a class act, David.
Yeah, I just do. Yeah, sorry, carry on.
Oh, carry on, mate. Carry on.
No, I just felt over the way things has been panning out that we've been badly lacking with that kind of people there to, bring. I'd love to see Gordon Smith in there in some capacity, and that I think is what
above the manager. Above the manager.
Sorry.
Above the manager.
Yeah. Yeah, we're talking about this, the director of football kind of stuff, but I think the way it's been handled of late, it's definitely not worked. So, as everybody says, this is a big, big, big decision. We've got to get it right. And I think we've got to get some people in there who knows what it's like to even put that jersey on. There's a lot of them that are playing now, don't know what that is. All they're playing is for 30,000 a week. And I think everybody else could see that.
I think if they get 2,000, if they weren't in the team, their performances might be different, but that's just me. I get back to your original point, David, with Stephen Davis. I would like there to be a place in the club, if he wants, and it's a good fit for everybody. Just the way he played the game, he's so intelligent. His technique, he's his engine. The way he stayed fit for most of his time, so obviously looked after himself. He's got a lot of wisdom he could pass on to younger players and then benefit. And then as he builds up his experience, you never know. You never know, mate. Eh?
Oh, definitely. I had to take my hat off to him when he played the two young boys. Well, not when he started with Lovelace. And then when he got nobbled, everybody's thinking, oh, here comes Lammers. But it didn't happen. He's starting to see where the faults are. And he put the young boy on.
Did he send out a message there for you with that substitution?
Oh, definitely. Well, I feel that's what he could. I feel that's the kind of thing he could pass on to whoever comes in. Because somebody's got to explain to whoever comes in, see this, and we're talking about Goldson and Tavernier. We're sick of talking about all that. Their sell-by date is gone. I hope somebody needs to get in there and say to them, they've been good, they've been great. Tavernier's done this and Tavernier's been that. But now we've got to change. And I felt Davis took a wee step in that right direction by starting that young boy and then no bringing on the ones that he can see now that aren't turning up. So I hope that's something that he could bring into the equation.
Aye. I thought that myself, Port, because I thought Lammers would have come on. I did. Yeah.
Well, if anybody doubted his bravery, and if anybody doubted his, job for the boys, and remember they played with quite a lot of these guys, I think he proved the weekend there, mate, that it's not going to be job for the boys. Basically, what he's saying is, if you're good enough, you're old enough. You know what I mean? So he's basically he is going to give youth a chance, and that's how I think. And it's not my opinion, because I think we're vice captain and captain. I've showed in the past they've got a nucleus of guys in that dressing room that will back them. Hence why the Gio thing happened and the Beale thing happened. In my opinion, the down tools on two managers, and I don't like that. But what Stephen Davis has sent a message out saying, regardless of your age, if you're playing well enough, you're training well enough, I don't care if you cost, was it 5.5 million Dessers was, or 3 million for Lammers. I don't care what your price tag is. I'm picking you on ability, not inability. And Dessers and Lammers deserve to be where they were at the weekend, mate. And them boys proved, and in my opinion, took their chance. They weren't even getting a start after the international break, mate. And I hope we see a couple of more next year. I hope we do see young Stirling getting a wee crack at right back as well.
Aye, well, that'd be interesting. Listen, the 4 changes that he made, I mean, as much as after Thursday, we rushed him out for 9 or 10, I think ultimately he's got it right, Davey. Because he made the 4 changes. You got McCausland on early, so that's really 5 new players have come in. He's won the game 3-0, so it's a big tick in the box, yeah?
Oh, that's the point I'm trying to make about staying in some capacity. Because whoever's coming in has got to be, well, if they look at any kind of past footage on games and study the way they've all been playing, not just in training's nothing. But you see the performances, he's got to look at them and say, and highlight it and say, there's our problem, there's our problem, there's our problem. We've got to fix it. I said before and time again, when we done the rebuild was done the wrong direction. We went to sort of middle to front, and it shouldn't have done that. It should have been what we did, the goalie and the back four, because the back four are stink. I'm sorry to all the guys that love all these players, but that should have been sorted. But it's still there. So the guy that comes in, he's got to grab the bull by the horns and say, right, sorry guys, sorry, this is the way it's going to be, and see it as he sees it. That's just my opinion, guys.
Yeah, Juicy, and you come, mate?
Well, the defence has been one of the only areas of the park that hasn't had too many injuries this season, generally speaking, although Ridvan was a bit of an exception. But it's just lacking that freshness, isn't it? Want to see a team developing and moving on, and even when there's good players, should always be looking at improving. And that back line has barely changed, and that's concerning as the players only get older. You know, we need to see something there in terms of development, and hopefully we've got that in some of the players that are at the club, but they've got to be given the opportunity. And is the new manager going to have the balls to make some calls on there that I wouldn't even necessarily say they're tough calls, but he's got to look at the matches that we've got, which is a lot of matches, and make appropriate changes, you know, when players are off form, and you've got to go for it. And a new manager coming in who doesn't have those connections, because some people are saying that even Davis is being a little bit cautious to the old boys club because obviously he's played with them for so long. A new manager coming in unassociated with previous Rangers squads isn't going to have that mindset. That's the best chance you've got of him changing it up, because Beale wasn't going to do that. He had his mates. Gio didn't change as much as I think we thought he would. And, you know, if it is Muscat coming in, I think he's been so far removed from Rangers for so long that it won't matter. He does make those changes.
Okay, right, we're going to change the whole show completely. But David, you have a nice Christmas, and we'll speak to you after the new year, all right?
Don't encourage him, Bridge. Don't you encourage him. You should be my side, the old Git Club.
Bridge is old, but he's not a Git.
As
Right,
Fox
so-
says, they all get loyal. No, sorry, no.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, David.
I'm listening.
Don't worry, I'm not going to ask you to buy a round. Right?
I offered the round that night.
We were laughing. It was at one of the Officer Devil Top Cat Fibers, mate. He was on a bit of string. You know, but anyway, right. I want to ask you this, right? All the people that's been mentioned to replace Beale, who's floating your boat, mate?
See that again, Ox? You're breaking up a bit there.
Of all the people that's been mentioned to be the new
Yeah.
manager, who's the one
Yeah.
who's floating your boat?
To be honest, none of them.
No.
I don't know. I would. I'm, you know, Miles, the only one I could tell you about is Muscat. But the other ones, I don't really have much information and knowledge about them to say, aye, this guy should get it and this guy should get it. I just hope it's some good football people like Souness or somebody gets in there and helps them all out and points them in the right direction.
According to the media, Souness has been involved with the selection process, according to the media. Right, Port, this is you. You ready?
Oh, yeah, wee dancer.
I will come back to you. On you go, Port.
Our first choice is Philip Clement, mate. An absolute winner. Won 3 different titles in Belgium. Went to Monaco. Didn't have the best time at Monaco, but wasn't, like, in my opinion, wasn't given enough time. I love his style of football. Very, very modern coach. My only concern about him is he's not got a lot of knowledge about British and Scottish football, but he's a very, very good coach. And I think with the right number 2, you know, a good Scottish number 2, I think that could work. But he's a very, very good coach, mate, and he's my first choice because he's a winner. He's won things, and I think that to me, that's important.
Sarah, I thought you'd maybe Mero and the rest of them, but look, he seems to be coming in to the betting, and obviously the betting's is a bit. It's not a book. It can be altered quite quickly with a couple of quid here and there. But Clement, he's a guy I don't know much about Port, but I've only read good things. You mentioned number 2. How can we not go and get somebody who we think's a number 1 in Scotland and go and entice them to come to our club? Surely the draw coming and working for our club with the possibility that you're there and you're the new Walter Smith and you'll take your, if you get it right, when somebody else leaves. Can we not do that? We not get that ambition? Is that fair, Port?
I know, it's totally fair. Totally fair. This is why I'm saying, if we got, he's my first choice, if we got him, and we got a Scottish number 2, and I know fans are going to go nuts here, right? See if I talk shit, Ox, we can entice Derek McInnes out of Kilmarnock as a number 2, right? Very unlikely, right? Very unlikely. But somebody in that mould who's going to come in, be assistant to a guy of Clement's calibre, teach him the game of Scotland, the meaning it is to play for Rangers, all that. And then if Clement moves on to better things when he starts winning things in Scotland, then you've got your ready-made replacement there and there. And Derek McInnes. I'm just using an example, by the way. It could be David Martindale. It could be, one of the Scottish coaches. We have got them. The reason I don't want Muscat, mate, I think we're just hoping for Ange number 2 because he was Ange's number 2. And we think
Can I ask you a quick question then on that, Paul?
On you go.
Right. If what happened over there, and I don't mean everything that's happened over there, we don't want to be involved in that, and we don't want to be involved in some of the so-called banners they put up at the weekend, but that's a whole different story. Right. If that hadn't happened on the pitch over there, where that manager been reasonably successful for them, would we even be looking at Muscat?
No, not at all. Not at all. So his number.
Does that make it a lazy appointment if you do it?
It's a very lazy appointment. That's what I'm saying to you. They're hoping they've got this mindset. Oh, here, that's how lazy it is. Oh, by the way, get this guy because he'll bring all the players with Japan. Look at the players that they got. And they've all worked out a green running. He if he's Ange's number 2, he'll definitely be brilliant. That's lazy, mate. Absolutely lazy, and it shows me lack of ambition because I think we deserve a manager the level of Philip Clement or Pascal Janssen, even the boy AZ Alkmaar. Again, very good technical coach. I love the Dutch style of football he plays. He might settle down guys like Lammers, Dessers. He might help these guys develop in Scotland. So, that's another possible appointment.
The only guy that can help they two is the guy that built Steve Austin, mate. Juicy, can you come, mate?
Oh, wow. I'm a little bit lost for words, really, to be honest.
Oh, well. Bridgeman, you never lost for words. Warry's on there to speak.
Come on, Juicy.
The show doesn't work.
I'll come in and that. There's not as good enough Scottish manager to take our Rangers for a start.
Nobody's standing out for you, David.
Well, the Scottish managers, no, because they're all duds.
But when Walter Smith came in with Graham, do you think that floated everybody's boat? Everybody was like, "Oh, he's going to be a top man." Walter Smith, yeah.
But we're not in that type of era now.
Can't always compare eras. It's not doesn't always go like for like. That was a time period that suited Rangers. When Souness came in, you then had the situation where top English players weren't able to play in Europe because of the Heysel situation, and we were able to capitalise on that. bringing in a lot of quality. We're not going to see that now at Rangers in terms of that
All right,
level of
what was
quality.
2009, 10, 11, mate? 8, 9, 10, 11?
So what you had then was that you had a totally different approach from Walter Smith, because he didn't have access to the funds and the quality that was available in his first stint. And what he did was somehow turn water into wine. And I don't quite know how he did it, because we had players like Kirk Broadfoot at the club, but we somehow managed to go on a run in Europe. We somehow managed to win trophies domestically. It wasn't always pretty, but there was so much grit in that team. But Walter Smith type managers, as Davey was just saying, do not grow on trees in Scotland. And it's not Rangers. It's not Rangers. Well, they used to. They used to. But it's not Rangers Football Club that, for me, is the issue when trying to attract a top manager, because Rangers are obviously a massive club. But we play in an absolutely pathetic league where everyone plays each other 4 times a season because there's only 12 teams and the setup is awful, and we have to play qualifying in Europe. And
you forgot about something else. We've still got that big Sting steal.
Yeah, for about 5 more minutes. And this is what you're competing against, where the Dutch league and the Norwegian league, can out-trump us financially. And you think, hang on a second, there's something not right about this. But when you're watching the old firm getting pumped in Europe on an almost weekly basis sometimes, and I include us in that now because we just lost to a team that are miles behind us in the rankings. So if we don't want to fall into that grouping of just another Scottish team getting pumped every other week, we need to do something about it now, because that Europa final run starting to fall back in the UEFA coefficient box. We've got to start.
Oh, you go, Bridge.
I just want to say, back to the question about the new manager. I agree with Portbear, with the 2 names that Portbear mentioned. Only I would go for Pascal Janssen. Not to say that I think there's each picture between the 2 of them, but I think I would prefer Pascal Janssen, but I would accept either of the 2, to be honest. They're 2 highly rated people, and they know their stuff. No question about that, they know their stuff. It's just a case of getting the right one to come to Rangers that would suit us. Pascal Janssen, I would go with, for me. That's what I go with.
Just got a many curiosity then. How many trophies has non-Scottish manager won for us, Port, in our history?
1.
Sorry.
5.
Not, how many trophies is a non-Scottish manager
Dick
won
Advocate.
for us?
Dick Advocate,
Oh,
for goodness sake.
Didn't Dick win 5?
You're right about that.
Gio got a Scottish Cup.
Gerard got it.
I forgot. Gio.
Come on, boys. No harm. Who mentioned Stevie G?
Me.
Thank you. There you go. Top flight trophies we'll talk about, yeah. Top flight. So the other piece have won 7 trophies.
I said that.
You're always right.
That's what I'm saying. Ox. That's how, if we're going to go down the form route again, that's how I'd like to see a good Scottish number 2. I think it's important to get that Scottish element in, and I don't just necessarily mean, I've heard a lot of, I've been listening to the show for weeks and I've been hearing guys saying it's got to be a Rangers man, it's got to be a Rangers man. I understand that to an extent, but as well as that, I want to see an influx of Scottish players Ox here. I want to see, we've missed out on guys like Lewis Ferguson, Boyd Dodge that went to Italy, Shanklin, guys like these, guys that know how to play the Scottish game. And I know people put in the shouting in back at me and saying, come on to help up, we need to aim higher than that. But sometimes the foreign flair Oxford works. I mean, Walter Smith used to have foreign players, but if you remember back in the day, we had a big influx of British or Scottish-based players because they know the league, they know how to play in the league, they're physically up to speed with the league, and they tend to hit a ground running. So that's how I'd like to see, you always talk about it, Oxford, a blend. So if we're going to get a top manager like Clermont or Jensen, a good Scottish number 2 assistant, and then you've already got coaches that are there. Stephen Davis was one that mentioned, a guy that will influx the meaning to play for Rangers, etc. But also have a core of decent Scottish players. I mean, because we've missed the Oxford, we've almost been like, it's a bit of snobbery. You know, oh, we're not buying anybody in Scotland, they're not good enough. But we used to always do it at Oxford. We've done it with guys like Kenny Miller, Alan Johnston. You know, we've done it with loads of players.
Not exactly great examples, but not exactly.
No, you get what I'm talking about, don't you? You get what I'm talking about. That influx of Scottish. I still think we need a core of Scottish players in our team, mate.
All right. You know who I'm bringing in here? Bridgeman.
Sorry, I missed the point there. Apologies.
Oh, it's going to take a long time, so we'll come back to you.
Are we speaking about Clermont again?
What?
Are you speaking about the manager?
No.
Okay. Sorry, I missed the point. Apologies.
Keep up, but the show doesn't work. Right. And we'll need to take a 2 week. We take the 2 week break, but you'll be taking a 3 week break.
Stop getting on your OEPs. The OEPs are getting a doing again tonight.
It's not that. Cheap my jersey, you get the free bus passes. I do away with a lot of them. Vote for you.
Oh, God. Brilliant.
Right. Bridgeman, the point Port Bear said that we have to sign Scottish players, and I went to you because I know that's a bugbear of you.
Yeah, because it's me, they're saying I wouldn't buy any Scottish player other than we can get them through our training camp, the young boys through the academies. So I would bring our own players in that way. Whatever we can get in and we'll get them trained up and ready for the first team. That's the way I would go.
Why would we cut off one nose to spite their face, Bridge?
Oh, that's a good question. I can't answer these questions, to be honest. I just don't want to spend any money for Scottish players from a Scottish team. The player moves down to England, I could go and buy him. All I mean. Mm-hmm. And I'm not buying them from a Scottish team. I don't want to give any team in this country one brown copper coin. Because all they do is just hate us. They just hate us.
We get that, Bridge, but we're cutting off our nose to spite their face.
Well, look, we didn't get Goff from Dundee United.
That's why
we had to go
we
and
signed Colin Steven for Hibs. We signed Jim Baxter.
I know we did.
And we signed Jim Baxter for Raith Rovers.
There's others. What's that?
Big Dave McPherson came for Hearts. No, what I'm saying, Bridgeman.
Sorry. We've always got the players from Scottish teams in the past.
Yeah. And if you think back, the Scottish players we had, right, some weren't a success, but a lot were a success. And 9 times out of 10, in my opinion, Bridge, you're saying let them go to England and buy them, let them go abroad and buy them, but you'll pay double the price if you let them do that. What we need to do is strike where it's hot. There's boys like Josh Doig, and there was, I'm talking recent, there's a boy that was a left back who would have been better than the left back with Borna. We let the boy Porteous go. Again, a lot of people hated Porteous, but he's doing very well at Watford, doing very well for Scotland. I know a lot of people don't like him, but we've known a player like him in my team as a centre back for a long time. He loves winding people up, he loves noising people up, he's hard to tackle, and he's doing all right. Lewis Ferguson is the new captain of Bologna. Again, now getting looked at by the top teams in Italy. Juventus and Milan are all looking at him now. So, you know, he's now out within the realms of our possibility of buying. we've got a bit of snobbery, and it's only my opinion, Bridgebank, we've got a bit of snobbery when it comes to signing players for Scotland. And if you look at the state we're in now, and some of the signings we've made, because we'll not look closer at home, who would you rather have right now, Loris Shanklin or Cyril Dessers? For me, there's only one.
Is that a question you're asking?
That's what I'm asking.
If you're asking me that, I'll tell you, I would stick with Cyril Dessers. I don't want to sign Lawrence Shanklin at any time, ever, from a Scottish team.
I would rather have Lawrence Arabia. Right, you mentioned Strawberry. We couldn't get any snobs, but we'll get Blue Star. Evening, Blue Star.
Evening, Ox. Evening, Port. Evening, Bridgeman. Ox, no intentions of phoning in tonight, but you're hitting a subject that's close to my heart, and you know for a fact I've been banging on before MD mentioned it. You're mentioning a Scottish guy. You're spot on, mate. We've wasted absolutely trillions only in the last 5 years on players that just haven't hacked it. You're looking at Lewis Ferguson. He's now reportedly, well, his father said the other night in the pod that they've already been offered 20 million plus for Juventus for him, and they don't want to let him go. Bologna. We had him in our books. Okay, he was a boy. We let him go. Would we not have got him for, I think it was reported at 1.4 at one point. I would have taken him in a heartbeat. If you're telling me he wouldn't have been a digger in the middle of that park, he got forward and he scores goals. If you can do it in Italy, you can do it anywhere. You've got Shanklin. Granted, he wouldn't have been my pick, and I know him well. He stays on the corner for me. But I will say it, you had Billy Dodds in the past, you had wee Rod Wallace in the past that cost us virtually nothing, and they banged in the goals. I get Bridges' point, but if you go down that line, that's being a bit silly, because our fans want to go to away grounds and they're pouring plenty into these clubs. So that's a catch-22. If we can get players that with a Scottish identity, and I will say it, they're prods and they want to play for Rangers. I agree with Port and I agree with yourself, Ox. I know where you're coming from. And 100%, if they're not the greatest players, they don't have to be. A good manager motivates players and he makes them into a good team. And the one thing that everybody seems to forget now, we are not a good team. We haven't been a good team for a long time. We've wasted too much money on bringing in players that, quite frankly, we are taking a massive drop, as you said earlier, Ox, because these guys are not going to get their wages elsewhere, and we're certainly not getting our fees back. What about Billy Davis? He offered his services in national radio this morning, so much so that he says, I'll take them to the end of the season. He says, free of charge. He says, and I'll prove to everybody, he says, how good a manager I am. Ox, I know you think your stuff. He done it at Preston, he done it at Derby, he done it at Notts Forest, and the only reason he was out of the game for 7 years was because of his legal representation with Nottingham Forest, incidentally of which the Notts Forest chairman has now come out and says he apologised to the guy, and that's why he's back on the scene. Billy Davis at the time, as you know fine well, Craig Brown had put him forward to take over for him at the Scotland set-up, and then the Notts Forest thing happened. He's an excellent coach, a brilliant wee manager. Yes, he's been out the game, but he's still been going about all the clubs. He's been at Chelsea lately, and he's been at Derby again. He knows our club inside out. He's a great man motivator. Would he be worth a shot? Of course he would. You've got McInnes. You've got Ian Ferguson out in Australia. Ian Ferguson's doing well just the same as Muscat did. And I said to you weeks ago, Ox, you know I did, about the Muscat thing. We're going down the same line, and you hit the nail on the head simply because of what that guy did across the road with him. And he took out his team twice, and he only changed one player. So for me, he didn't build A teams. So I think we're taking a big risk. And I said it for day one. Ox, you knew more than me there earlier when you says, how many managers have we had that have been foreign that have did it? We've had one. And that was a Dick Advocat. It spent between 55 and 80 million at the time. So for me, I would love nothing better than to see a Scottish guy coming in. Obviously, he's got to be able to do the job. We all know that. But at this moment in time, it's not going to matter who we bring in with that squad of players. We all know umpteen of them are all going to have to get put out and brought new ones back in. I think, if anything, even bring them in the background. As Port says, we've got no coaches here. We Davo's there, but he's nowhere near that level yet. And that's why he's not even been for his badges. So we need ex-players, ex-motivators, ex-everything. Guys that know our club inside out. And as I say, Ian Ferguson, you wouldn't have got a harder guy than him. Are you trying to tell me he shouldn't have a place at our club? Of course he should. What's your thoughts?
Don't mention exes. Fox gets a little emotional when you mention exes. Right, I think we've also been joined by Bob Chair. Evening, Bob Chair. I'll come back to you, Boaster.
Evening, everyone. How you doing?
Hi, Bob.
All right, mate.
All right, I just listened to the discussion there about Billy Davis there. But getting back to, just for a moment, back to the present situation, is there anybody you can tell me that really jumps out at you that should be the manager? Anybody you think? No, there isn't, is there? I think we're going to have to wait a wee while. I'm for letting Davis keep it to the new year. Because let's be honest with you, boys, that squad of players, I didn't see us winning the league. Like, I don't. Bar something drastic happens, I didn't see it. So I'd let wee Davis stay there the new year until somebody did jump out. Somebody that we all felt was up for it. Nobody's grabbing at the first thing you see a long list of people.
Yeah,
so that's my take on it.
The problem is, Bob Jelly, you go back a generation and 2 generations. There were Scottish managers everywhere, and some of them had connections to our club. You know, maybe grew up supporting them or had played, or you know, there was some connection. Well, that you haven't got that thread anymore, so you're not going to get always candidates. Port Bear.
No, you're not. That's the biggest problem next year, and I think that's why we have to look further afield. Blue Star made a good point. Billy Davis available, but like I says, is he just that wee bit out of touch with football? I know he's been, as Blue Star touched on, he's been visiting, you know, various football grounds, but we're a top European manager like I think we deserve, and Billy Davis even as a number 2, would he take that chance? Of course he would. He's a blue nose. I think he would jump at a chance even being number 2 Rangers, and he wouldn't take any nonsense either. And what a guy to have beside Clermont. I know Clermont's probably got his own backroom team, but why can we not bring in a guy like that? Just even to be a buffer between the board and the playing squad and the coaching staff. I think we need the right appointment next year. I think we need the right team in place. The real team to go forward, because I don't think this.
Let's be honest. Now take this round the panel. When they gave Beale the job, right. Let's say you say okay, it's a decent appointment, and you're saying the board of directors okay, we're cutting them a bit of slack. When they turned up with his buckers, the writing should have been on the wall. Let's be honest. Blue Star, then Tuesday.
100%, mate. And when you looked at that bench, 8 backroom staff, Fox. How many times did we see any of them on their feet demonstrating, including him, bar the last couple of games there? None of them. So I've never known any manager to bring 8 backroom staff in, unless they were well done working with the academy kids. But I've never known 8 to be sitting in that bench. It was absolutely laughable. And as I say, you only need to look at his signings. I mean, we've all seen good players, and you've always ranted on about maybe for every 3 you bring in, if you get one good in, then you hold your hands up and you say, well, at least we got one good in at it. We've not had MD, bar a goalkeeper. And let's be honest, the goalkeeper, in my eyes, goalkeeper at our club over the years has reasonably been pretty safe. His outfield players and the staff that he brought in, goodness me, absolutely diabolical. So this time, I'm told it must get ones right that well down the road, Fox. And as I said to you a couple of weeks ago, I just think it's far too quick, mate. Honestly, I do. I think we need a revamp in our whole club, and I think we've got to bring ex-coaches in, or coaches, i.e. Ian Ferguson or from Australia. He would jump at the chance, you know it and I know it. Billy Davies, you even get McInnes. McInnes would take a job at Ibrox now, no doubt about it. Is he worth a shot? Of course he is. Of course he is.
I don't think you'll be having Vegemite in your toast. I think it'll be patty. And you come, Juicy?
Oh, well, McInnes, a lot of fans didn't like it the first time around when it was up as an option, but that was then and this is now, and you've got to look at what's available. And I don't think any of us are particularly excited about the managers that are on the table at the moment. But you know something, to quote my dad, he doesn't care whether a player is English, Scottish or an Eskimo. If they're a good player or a good manager, they're welcome at our club. And I've always stood by that as well. Is it good to get players and managers from within your home nation or your British Isles? Of course it is. But you've got to see what's available and what's around. Don't just get someone for the sake of it because they're Scottish or English. Get someone because they're good and to a standard that fits this club and will allow us to go forward. Whether that's a foreign manager or a British manager, they've just got to get it right. Because we've just had an English manager and he was pish. So it doesn't matter to me. We've had Scottish managers.
What's your language? You should know better, Juicy.
I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But it's very important.
But you're right.
To get
He was. You're correct.
Yeah.
He was.
And he was what did I call him the last few weeks before he was sacked? A used car salesman. Because that's exactly what he portrayed himself as. Someone who can talk a lot and just constantly contradicted himself. He was a chancer. And we have to be honest about that. But we have an opportunity to get it right now. And that's a Scottish manager who wants to bring in Scottish players, then that's great. But we've got to look at what's out there, guys. Let's not just go signing players for the sake of it. Shanklin is not exactly hitting form at the moment with a pretty poor Hearts side. Doesn't mean he's not capable. Lewis Ferguson, that ship has sailed. There's no point in talking about it anymore. We've got to look at what's achievable for this club within a budget, of course. But ultimately, my friend, I don't care where they're from, as long as they're going to bring success to this club.
Oxia, can I ask your opinion? What do you want? Who do you think? And just on the same topic we've been talking about, manager, players, Scottish players. What's your thoughts yourself, mate?
I think it was Davey said that nobody stands out. I think you said that, Davey, that nobody stands out, and I get that. And when Jock Wallace came in with Willie Waddle, did he start it? Did Alex McLeish jump everybody when he played when it was with Aberdeen, Motherwell and Hibs? And I used the Walter analogy when he came in with Graham. He was the people when Walter took over for Graham, people wanted a bigger name. It's only hindsight that makes these decisions right. Yeah, and look, the Beale one. Well, all right, go back to the Giovanni one. Giovanni was a reasonably universally accepted and welcomed appointment, if you like the fans. It didn't turn out great. Domestically, it gave us one of the best few weeks of my life. And I'm still paying my barber lap, but that's another subject. Right, but it's only hindsight that makes all these decisions right. And if you use Dessers and Lammers, we could have signed 2 boys for the juniors that would have been more mobile than they two. So the scouting is let us done. And if you'd have signed 2 boys for the Bens who wanted to play for our club, they'd be more effective than Lammers and Dessers. So we're getting short-changed. And they'll be sitting there taking big money out of our club, and they'll be on lengthy contracts. And we'll leave ourselves exposed, and it's silly. So you've got to look at the whole recruitment. We want quality. Yes, of course we do. We'll pay for quality. But they've got to be able to do it on the pitch. So you need that blend to build a team. Manager-wise, Port, I agree. There's nobody really stands out. Nobody that says, oh, he's the out-and-out favourite. You go and put 20 quid on any of them and they'll go into, they'll move right in the betting because it's that small a book. Juicy, You know what I'm talking about, yeah?
Absolutely.
You know, but there's nobody stands out for. Does that make sense? And it's not a cop out, but there isn't any obvious candidate because there's no other players with connections to our club managing all of England and being successful. And the Aberdeen managers maybe won 2 cups. You say we'll go up and see if we can entice him. It's not going to happen because there's nobody out there at the moment domestically in Scotland who's winning trophies, who we would say, right, he's the obvious candidate to come in. There ain't.
No, I agree. I mean, even when you talk even in the standard, the players right now, I mean, 2 players that come to mind for me that I think would do a job for Rangers come January. And again, shoot me down, guys, if you want. But I think, guys, and I'm going with what we've got. Remember what we have, right? No wide men again. I still think Loris Shankland and Martin Boyle for Hibs would do a job for Rangers. And they wouldn't be on half of the wages that they're on. The guys have signed already. That's doing nothing for us.
Oh, never mind Shanklin and Boyle. Lewis and Doyle would do a better job than they two. Doyle Pessers and Palmers.
But you get what I mean, Oxshire. I just don't want to be this club that think, there's a bit of snobbery that we can't go and get these guys. Because, in my opinion, they guys would do a job for Rangers. The chances Rangers create in a game for any number 9 or so that could put the ball in the net, Loris Shankland would score goals for Rangers. And Martin Boyle is so direct, play either wing. We've not got a winger. It wouldn't cost the world, and their wages would be probably maybe less than half of what we've got there that we're paying a fortune for. They would do a far better job, and that's only 2 just that was starting my head right now.
I get it, mate, but you're building for a low base. But look, I understand Bridges' sentiment because of what happened. He'll not eat sushi because of the 39 to 45 conflict with Japan. He didn't let things go. But I understand Bridges' sentiment because he doesn't want to keep him. But my counter argument is I don't want to cut off a nose to spite their face. And I think Bridge gets that when we chat about it. We've chatted about it often enough, Bridge, haven't we?
Oh, aye. Look, whomever it is, the manager, Rangers manager goes and buys, wherever they come from, I will accept that because I can't sway it in any way, shape, or form. This is purely my opinion. I'm so embittered by the rest of Scottish football and the things that they've done since we were problems. And before that, we were at tops in Scotland. They buy lots of players, Scottish players. Ian Ferguson, for one prime example. Boy was top, getting his game on, and we went and bought him. And many, many players before him, Colin Steen. We went and bought them. The best there was, the cream of the crop. Rangers done it. For me, the crop isn't there anymore. To me, they're just full of, I don't know. I don't see any quality players in Scotland. I don't see any quality players in Scotland. I just don't see it. I love watching English Premiership, and the place is full of quality. Absolutely full of it. But I might
That's
be...
money, though, Bridge.
I know. I'm saying that. We know that. But I want their club to bring their youngsters in and train them up and do the business with them and lead them into the first team, get them a pass to get to the first team. But if we're going out and buying players, but you look at that team we played yesterday, they're third in the league, or they were then. They were above us in the league, and now we're above them. And you look at them yesterday, I don't know if any of you guys who were watching that game at all thought, that's a good player. Not one single St Mirren player was a good player for me. Not one of them.
And there was times when I didn't think there was a good player in the pitch, Bridge, in the park.
Yes, I know, but I'm only looking at it from. But we need to buy players. Well, here's the team at present moment is lying third in the league. Or would you go out and spend money on any player? No, you wouldn't do it. In my opinion, you wouldn't do it. I wouldn't like to do it. So you look at all the clubs, and there's only a few. You picked a couple out yourselves. you're saying Shanklin. Well, personally, a lot of folk like Shanklin. And if the manager likes him and goes and buys him, I've no got a say in that. But I know
a good race, him and Dessers. It'd be a good race.
I tell you, I just don't think there is anybody in Scottish football that is worth their salt. That's my opinion.
Right, gentlemen, we've reached that time. And even last word briefly for yourself, Bob J.
Aye, great discussion, lads. Look, I hope Rangers aren't staring at the abyss here. We have to get this absolutely spot on, bang on. It's a must. We've been in this position before, not so long ago, and we appointed Beale, and we all came what happened. And just, Rangers must get this right. It's a stone cold certainty. What irks me, and irks every Rangers fan, is up the road, managers hit the ground running, players hit the ground running, everything seems to happen. With us, it seems to be a hard slog all the time. We've got to get out of this and back to winning ways again. And thanks for having me tonight, Hawks, and all the best for the moment, guys.
Davey?
Hi, great show. Best in town. Just a wee reference for Juicy. For future reference, Juicy, the word you're looking for is urine. So, all the best, guys, and no surrender. We are a people. Good night.
Bluester. Follow up.
We might not have a great side in it. We certainly might not have a great team in it. And we're struggling with our management team. We get somebody in that can motivate try and motivate these players until they can be changed. But remember this, guys, we have still got 4 trophies to play for this season. And it's achievable if you can still get us playing and still keep us in the hunt, especially in the cups at least. So we've still got an awful lot to play for. These players should have that drummed into them, the ones that can play. And if they can't, then they're the ones that need to leave. But it's sort of didn't who we bring in as a manager. But we can only hope that we get it right. We have to.
All right, mate. On the behind side. Cheers, mate. Thanks for the call. We've missed anybody. Right, okay. Port Bear.
Hi, mate. Superb show. Really enjoyed it. Glad to be back properly this time. No, mate, I just think, it's like the boys have touched on, I don't want this is a rebuild in the rebuild Ox year, no doubt about it. I can't bear another 18 months where we get another manager on and we have to rip the book up and start again. This has to be an appointment that has to be 100% right. We have to get it, stick by the manager through thick and thin.
If you don't got a cloak in your house, good
aye,
night's
and
the
just,
word they're looking for.
Aye. So, onwards and upwards, mate. Good night. Love yous all.
Right, okay. Cheers, mate. You're still on a final written, by the way, just letting you know, all right? Juicy Bear.
Well, thank you for Davey's comments a moment ago. You're in trouble on this show when you say the wrong thing.
Oh, carry on, hurry up.
But yes, hopefully we do appoint the right person, and it takes as long as it takes, in my opinion. I don't want us to rush it. We can get it done in the next fortnight, happy days. But there's still going to be a lot of work to do. We know we're playing catch up in this league. But Blue Star's right. There's a lot of trophies to play for. We know which one the big one is. Let's get the job done.
Cheers, mate. Bridgeman, you'll be brief. Hurry up.
Okay, a wonderful night. Tremendous. Well done to everybody who's on the panel. Superb stuff. And the techie boys in the background there, thank you. And of course, the 2 guys carried me. Juicy Bear and Port Bear. Thank you very much, guys. Can I just say to all the Rangers fans listening in all over the world, everybody, listen to what we're saying. We need a new manager tomorrow. Please make it happen. Keep it going for the Rangers, everyone. Just keep it going.
Thanks to Davey for joining us. Bob Jen and Blue Star, great to hear from you all. Port Bear, great to have him back. Juicy Bear, and of course the legend is Bridgeman. Rangers Radio schedule is going to be fluid for the next few days as we look to build in the manager as we're in the international break. As it plans, we'll be back tomorrow night between starting 8 o'clock. We don't know how long the show will last for, but we'll be back tomorrow night starting 8 o'clock. Take it away, Old School Blue.